Hello everyone, it's Mr. Blobfish here, and today we are playing some Rome 2. Well, not really, we're watching a replay. This is a replay I literally just did with my friend, and I'm playing as Epirus, and my friend is playing as Macedon, and we're facing a Seleucid and Pontus alliance ship. So, we're going to see how well we can face off. Now, these are some pretty even factions, both have pikes. Seleucids probably have some of the better pikes, I think. Silver Shield Pikemen, I think they're called. Pontus has a lot of good sword units. Thureos Spears, I believe. Bronze Shield Pikemen. He also has some Pontic Cavalry. So we're seeing how this plays out. So let's go through what both my opponent were, because you were in a Discord call, and I'll tell you. Actually, I'll just wait until I get into formation here to show you the strategy. So, over here, the Seleucids are outfitted with some heavy Syrian archers in the front. They have some thorax swordsmen holding the line. And then they have some Persian hoplites and I think some shield bearers. Silver shield bearers here. And then they also have the Gama cavalry, Hellenic cataphracts, and Azat knights. And then they also have some cav, citizen cav, and Median cav. And they have some 2 Thureos Spears units on their flanks. For Pontus, they have a line of just some Pontic peltasts, not the best unit in the game, for long-range skirmish battles, but it works. And then they have some Thureos Spears, Bronze Shield Pikemen all the way down, with some normal Pikemen somewhere in the middle here. So yeah. And then they have some Pontic peltasts, Thureos Spears, and Pontic Cavalry flanking both sides. Now, I will pause and show you... Actually, wait, is it fully... Okay, no, it's not fully done. When the formation's fully set, I'll tell you what was going through our heads. Anyway, I moved up my Hellenic cataphracts and my 1 mercenary Italian cavalry to face off, because I didn't think he'd charge in his general so early game. I think he'd save it, so I planned this because I knew that he's going to charge in his citizen cav, and I was just hoping that I could win the cav engagement with my superior cavalry. And then also move up this thorax swordsman unit because, I mean not thorax, Thureos Spears unit because of the javelins. They're pretty good anti-cav in my opinion, and he also has Thureos Spears up here. So I'll do some pausing and I'll tell you the strategy. On my side, I have a line of pikemen here. These are just some normal pikemen, pretty basic, has some decent stats they hold out. No chevrons on them, unfortunately. And then I have a line of peltasts at the back. And I've put my mercenary Korean archers at the front, because they have 150 range, and these Syrian archers have 150 range, and I want to win the skirmish battle. I don't want to lose that skirmish battle, because heavy Syrian archers are pretty good, and it'd be a shame if I lost it. Plus, I have 3 mercenary Korean archers, and he has 4 heavy Syrian archers, so I made up with that with 2 peltas units, which aren't the best. And then I've shifted over my mercenary Samnite warriors, some of the best, and I believe in the game. They're really good. Good for the price. Pretty good all around. I put them on the flanks, and my goal is to hit from the side, be pressure heavy on the side, because if I just hit with all my forces in the middle, he will be able to outflank me. So I want to use my cav and use these Samnite warriors to really put pressure on his flanks. Really get in there. I have some Aspis companion cavalry. The original plan was to slam forward the front, because usually in land battles, there's usually just a little bit of thinness in the gap between them, and we were thinking we could just slam forward. But we'll see what I do with that later. And Mr. All Things, which is the person I'm playing with, I'll link his YouTube channel below, he actually was smart enough to realize, look, Pontus has some Pontic peltasts. They have 80 range, right? 41 missile damage, but he has 80 range. These Korean archers have 150. And he can win the skirmish battle pretty simply by just placing his skirmishers in front. The only thing he was worried about was this weird flanking unit that Pontus in front. So let's replay the battle now that I've explained. And let's see. We have some Thureos Spears pushing up forward. Getting up there. We have some Hellenic Royal Cataphracts chilling. Really good shock cav. We have some mercenary Italian cavalry. Not the best in the best, but they still work. Just got them in for just the money purposes, fill up my entire roster. Mr. All Things sends in his one of his peltast units he's retreated to conquer the fact that he's pushing up the Thureos Spears, and he actually does charge in some citizens cav straight into this thinned out Thureos Spear line. We'll see how that goes here. Let's see if this goes in his favor. Thureos Spears will probably get a javelin. Oh nope, they go into square formation, so I don't think they get their javelin off, but they will Yeah, they actually no, they did take a little bit of a beating there, but the remaining Thrail Spears unit with their peltasts are probably gonna take a little bit of a chunk out of that citizen cav. Not the best. He is microing this companion cavalry, really good cav, and he is moving up this. So I think Mr. Allthings did have a late start to this engagement. However, I don't think he's doing as bad. He is breaking up this Thrail Spears unit, but this citizen cav is gonna lose mainly because these Pontic peltasts. And yep, they're going to be breaking already. However, we do see in here, Companion Cav gets a much better charge, but he's going to get countercharged in the back. But these peltasts are moving up forward. Not going to know how well that's going to turn out over here. No engagements yet. He did push up some heavy Syrian archers at his Thrail Spears line, and I did not want to charge that because the amount of javelins and the just amount of fire that would come would probably shred my cavalry up by the time they got there. So I retreated them back, actually push up my mercenary Samnite warriors, because I want to put pressure on his flank. I want him to move, try and engage the mercenary Etruscan, not Etruscans, I'm sorry, Samnite warriors instead of my cavalry, which he actually does. I think they're either on fire at will or he just did it, but regardless, he does actually try and focus fire this Thrail Spear unit. Pretty good for me. Over here, he does actually get a good charge on my cavalry, but it's such bad cavalry that's not going to do as much. This Hellenic Royal Cavalry take no damage, neither does this mercenary Italian cavalry, so I do actually realize this, and yeah, I decide that, you know what, I might lose here, and if I lose here, I might as well push. There's no reason to stay behind. The skirmish battle's already engaged, and I've to some degree chewed up his troops, not as much as I hoped. Over here, pretty good deal. We are seeing a lot of dead bodies there. So the skirmish battle's doing great, but I decided, you know what? I want this archer fire to focus down on my pikemen. I'm pushing up my pikemen, pushing them straight into these Persian hoplites, which will not be able to withstand that amount of pikes. And these mercenary Samnite warriors are coming in for the flank into this mushy side. We're only seeing some thorax swords and some Persian hoplites. And he actually does pull back a little bit. Over here, the cav fight, I would say, was going in my favor. I have broken this Median cavalry, which was the better of the two. And his citizen cav's taking an absolute beating, but so is my Hellenic cataphracts. Royal Cavalry. I'm so sorry, I'm butchering all the names right now. These Azat Knights got a good charge on by my Aspis Companion Cavalry, and I've decided to move up my General and my two remaining Peltast units. My Thrail Spears haven't done the best. They've absorbed basically all the ammunition of the other Thrail Spears, and I've basically moved them in as some kind of little meat shield, I guess you could say. And I would have said that at this point I won the skirmish engagement. He did fully kill almost one of my dudes, but his heavy Syrian archers were pretty low, and I already was taking over the combat sector. These thorax swords were getting ripped to shreds by my pikes. My pikes were basically demolishing them, and even though these guys were getting to some degree focused down, I was breaking a unit. He does actually charge in his general. He countercharges. I countercharged with my Aspis Companion Cavalry. He was coming for my my archers, but I decided to countercharge. Over here, I realize Pontus kind of open, kind of realizing that Pontus can send aid, and I actually do charge up my Thrail Spears a little bit into the range to take on Pontus a bit if they charge. I get a bit of returning Cretan archers. So let's look at this side, other than the fact that I've kind of breaking here, but also I've charged in these guys out of the battle into the other side. So Macedon, Mr. Allthings decides to help me out. He decides to charge in these two units into the battle to help me win. And over here, he is taking a little bit of a beating. His archers do get charged by this Pontic cavalry, and he's getting a little bit slammed down here, including the general. But he actually just pushes in some pikes to support and kill that general unit. Over on the flanks, he has to some degree repelled it. What he told me was they basically charged in, and as you can see, a lot of carnage happened between some cavalry and some Peltast units, and well, he kind of won. As you can see, this cav 49 to 50. These guys, they're full, but these guys are 121 of us, 160. So Mr. Allthings is kind of losing the skirmish fight at this point, and his only real way is to charge, which is done with these cav and his general, and he's also charging up these pikemen. So he is charging up, which is a good idea. Pontus sending over some Thrail Spears to flank, and I am taking on some pikemen head-on with these Thrail Spears, which I realize is a bad idea, and pull them out. Over here, you see Epirus charging in his Hellenic cataphracts and his mercenary Syrian archers to try and relieve his general. That did not go so well for him. His general is taking a good amount of deaths, and Mastodon and I have pushed in. He has set up some Thorax swords into the back of me, but my whole plan was basically mop up over here, get the Therios Spears out of the way, and we'll slam them from behind. So I actually do push up my Peltast to help out with that fight. My Korean archers don't have to worry anymore, so I've actually positioned them kind of to scare off these Bronze Shield pikemen, which had been attacking my Therios Spears. And the Seleucids are, and then me and Seleucids are kind of in an even fight right now. The Seleucids do have a lot of Persian hoplites and a good amount of thorax swords, but I have in greater numbers pikemen, which I was really surprised that the Seleucids didn't bring as much pikemen as they could have. Over here, you just get a decent rear charge on my pikeman, and he does have one remaining Syrian archer unit. I think two actually somewhere here, yeah, two. But those guys are basically useless because we are in the last fight. So those pikemen do get a charge on me. However, Mr. All Things quickly comes up. He rear charges them just in time. Very thankful for that. I actually do win the Cav fight over here, so I'm able to peel off Cav into this fight instead of supporting this, because at this point I've won. And Seleucid General is dead. Over here, Mr. Aldings has repelled most of the skirmishers. At least he's actually countercharged into the Pontic Cavalry in this Pontic Peltast unit. Pretty good at taking off the pressure, but he's still holding the line, and basically he was hoping for me to come in. Pontus gets desperate. They try to charge in this useless mercenary Queen Archers with like 20 dudes. Not a good idea. My Therios Spears there countering this, and Pontus is getting shredded. He does have some Therios Spears in the back right here, and I think he was hoping on doing some weird outflanking, but it's not going to work because I've already basically won this engagement over here, and I could always just come back and fire. I think I actually do place my Korean archers on a attack order. Oh yeah, I put them over here. I just basically, instead of attacking these guys and I know I'll lose, I just charge them forward. And Pontus actually comes back from breaking. He barely just charges out. He actually decides to charge into the main cluster over here, and Therios Spears unit stays strong. Over here, we see another charge by some companion cavalry, and it is kind of weird to understand, but I'll tell you what happens. I have some dudes here, some dudes here, and some dudes here, and they're basically holding off against the last of Seleucids, which is some thorax swordsmen and some shield bearers. So I'm mopping up the Seleucids here. He does have some silver shield swordsmen, which is probably going to be the harder part of the battle. And I actually do fully break these Therios Spears unit with my general. He does charge in some Therios Spears. I think I'm actually going to charge my peltasts here any second now. It depends. Yep, do charge in my Therios Spears. These guys are out of ammunition. They do have I think it's 18 melee attack, which is not as good, but they can hold their own. And I do actually charge my general to relieve them, because I want this unit back. Even if it's just a normal unit, I know I'm going to win this Therios Spears engagement here. I have far better numbers. But over here, I just didn't want to get someone in my back. And I do actually get a returning pikeman unit, which is pretty good. They are exhausted, though. Over here, Mr. All the Things has basically mopped up the last of the last. This Pontic Cavalry has taken a beating. These Therios Spears are trapped, and Pontus, I guess, realizes that he's losing his flank, and he doesn't want to get Mastodon get a flank on him, so he starts to push up his pikemen. Which he does have a lot, and I mean a lot of pikemen. Like, a lot of pikemen. This dude was stacked with pikemen. So was Mr. All Things, though. But still, just a lot of pikeman units. Over here, Mr. All Things kind of tries to engage with this Pontic Swords. Obviously, Rome for being a little bit buggy, just makes him kind of sit on the sidelines. And this Peltast unit is just chasing off the remaining. This poor dude, just getting chased down. I think he's actually going to get caught off here, is he? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, where they all cheer. They got him right in the back. That's awful. So my general has finished mopping up. And now it is basically just left over here. The remaining battle almost of Mr. All Things. You're actually seeing me kind of mopping up over here. Just take a bunch of pictures because it's epic. So we're seeing Mr. All Things kind of mop up over here. Not me. I'm Mr. All mopping up over here, sorry. I actually do get a charge on these shield bearers, so basically shifting around my pikes. I'm breaking this Thorax Swords unit. And this shield bearers unit, Silver Shield Swordsman, still holding. I was really pissed off at that, but I am definitely capitalizing on them over here. And Mr. All Things gets a good lineup on Pontus. He doesn't have enough pikemen, though, to meet up the center force here, which is not going to help out for him. So we do get a little bit of an angle charge here, more of a weird angle. They are both taking casualties, pretty even fight. However, his pikemen are better, Bronze Shield pikemen are better. As we can see, he is actually getting a good surrounding on these foot companions. He does actually move up his mercenary Thracian peltasts in support. Not gonna know when they're actually gonna fire. Oh no, he's charging him in. And some of his general loyal peltast units. So the flank, he actually does push heavy into the flanks, as we see. Over here, he did actually put some Thorax Swords units. Pretty good idea. We actually just get this peltast unit off guard, and they're taking a beating over here. But these guys do get surrounded and sandwiched, and to do that, he tries to relieve them. But these Pontic peltasts scare off his Thorax Swords, which he does not want to push in. Over here, he does get a cavalry unit. He peels that off, this cav. I just tell him, you know, take the cav out, help your brothers. And I am mopping up the sleuths. I basically wrecked these guys. I kind of won that skirmish engagement, just forced his skirmishers back, which allowed me to really push up my spears. Over here, Pontus pushing up some Thoreos spears. And these Bronze Shield pikemen are holding. They do take a little bit of numbers here. So it is fairly even right now. He actually has pushed up his Thracian peltasts. It's not the best idea to push him up into pikes. But what else is he going to do? I mean, to get them around, you'd have to move them around this entire line just to get killed by these Thoreau spears anyway. So he might as well have just gotten the cheap, like 2 or 3 kills. He does push in this Thorax Swordsman unit, and his general, I think, used the rally. Yep, he uses his ability over here. Which one is this? I think this is... oh, never mind. There's just pikemen. I'm wrong. Anyway, I decide time to shift over and hit Pontus right in the back. Get there as quick as possible because Mr. All the Things is losing. He does have this unit that's holding, but they are not really getting as many kills. And this unit has gotten outflanked by 2 sides. They're getting pressed in. He does actually shift them back, so they're pushing in through 2 sides, and he actually retreats them back to make a new line. But they just don't have the numbers to win the battle. And you get some units back. Pontus also does get this Pontic Cavalry back. And it's just carnage here. Absolute carnage over here. And over here, Thoreau spears just moving in. I got my Thoreau spears and pushing them in into this pikeman unit from the back. I want to get this pike unit out of the way. Get this foot companion out into the battle to another side. These peltasts are trying to hold. They've actually charged into the back of these Bronze Shield pikemen. Pretty good. These Bronze Shield pikemen are losing steadily. These guys have 140 kills now. It's pretty insane. And these Royal Peltasts, this general unit is also pushed in, but it is getting sandwiched between some pikes, which is not good. Not good at all. We do not like that. And he does have some Thorax Swordsmen holding out in and some Thorax pikemen. So these guys have just basically told me, you know, I'm holding out. I'm not gonna win. You need to come. You need to get all these troops here. And we need to push here because it's been a long battle. We need to get this over with. So, do come in for the rear charge, and he actually just shifted around his pikes. Not good for me. So this is the Rail Spears unit. It's racking up kills, but it is losing. It's going to start losing too, because it's not going to be able to match up, and they actually are breaking. Specifically from exhaustion, because if you guys remember, this Thoreau Spears unit was all the way over here, fought a battle, fought another battle, fought another battle, and then runs all the way over here and fights another battle. So those guys have been around almost half the entire map, and of course they're exhausted. I am pushing up all my Samnites, and I decide that charging in on one side isn't going to work, because all he's going to do is he's just going to line up his pikes, and he's just going to destroy me. I have to charge in while Mr. All the Things still has the numbers and charge in through his flanks. And he actually realizes this, and he actually puts his Bronze Shield pikemen forward, which is just going to make it even harder for me to try and find a little entrance where I can push in without getting met by the pikes. And Mr. All Things Crumbling, he has one Peltas unit, and these Thracians they pushed in actually have done quite the number. 136 kills, but they are getting mopped up now. It is the last. Oh my god, look at that. Dude headbutted him and they got stabbed. That's awful. But still, really, really cool. And I am pushing over the remaining of my Samnite warriors. I'm planning to go here with this mushy Pontic swords. Planning to smash through these Pontic swords and these Thrail spears unit, because these are probably the weaker units that he has. Over here, my pikemen have lost this engagement. These bronze shield pikemen are so much better. My exhausted and wavering pikemen don't stand a chance. I do think I actually did some friendly fire by accident. Over here, I don't actually know if that's how it works specifically. But my general will win this engagement. He has Hellenic Royal Guard. More troops, better. And these guys are eager, I guess. And they're winning decisively. So these bronze shield pikemen won't last that long. I mean, these guys already are taking a beating. And over here, Pontus has basically wrapped around. There's nothing else I could do. He has so many pikemen, it's just insane that the amount that he has. I charge in, and then he literally just moves his entire army to blob and just take me out. And I actually do get a good beating on these Thrail spears. These guys are basically fresh, but it's not gonna last, honestly. I'm getting beat up. It was a mistake to push in. This is what's happening, was a pocket. On this side, there were the mushy troops, and I pushed in thinking I could get them, and literally every troop to this side pushes me and gets me in my flank. That's exactly what happened. See, I pushed these mushy troops over here, and I get pushed in with the pikes, and I get cornered almost in this little pocket over here, and I'm getting wrecked, guys. I'm getting absolutely wrecked. These guys are not standing a chance. So I don't know why that. Take an image of those over. Anyway, I got these Thrail spears back. Or no, pikemen. And I'm deciding, you know what, just gonna raw dog it. Pull in. And this is what I learned. I can get a draw. Now you guys are gonna be like, it's not a draw. He had so much more pikemen and he could have won and blah 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 and whatever. Well, I played the battle for God knows how long. I mean, I guess I deserve a draw. In real life, I mean, I guess they're just so exhausted they'd probably just come up with an agreement. I guess that's how it would work in a draw situation. They're just like, okay dude, like, let's just stop. But yeah, we got the draw, so not a win, not a lose. Interesting ending. If the battle had been longer, I think Pontus would have won, but I still think it's a very cool battle. I think what Pontus did was a very good idea with all these bronze shield pikemen. Get a very strong bronze shield pike center, and then just kind of use your use these lighter, cheaper skirmishers. So now let's just look. I got 2,290 kills, basically wiped out half of all the Seleucids and a little bit of the Pontic pikes. Not as much though as Mr. Allthings did. Mr. Allthings also gets almost 2,000 kills, and he's not the best player in the world, so that's pretty impressive for him. Cost-wise, the Syrian archers did better, but for the fact that they have 4 and I have 3, and I still managed to get these guys out fairly early game, pretty impressive. I kept saying I won the skirmish battle, but I guess it's kind of so-so. But these normal peltasts did much better. These guys absolutely wrecked. My cavalry did much better than the Seleucids. These guys basically did not make up for their cost, and the amount of variety he had with these Azat Knights and Median Cav didn't work out. I went with the simpler 3 melee Cav, 2 shot Cav, 2 Hellenic Cav, 2 Aspis Cav. Remaining money goes to mercenary Italian cavalry. And this Italian Cav didn't really pay itself off, I would say, 39 kills, but it did countercharge the general from attacking my my archers, so that's pretty good. Pikes all did great, above the 100 kill deadline, which I think is pretty good. My Samnite warriors absolutely crushed these Thrail spears. This one was the guy. He wasn't in the battle as much. This was the unit that I got thrown onto the side. He got broken pretty easily. This guy was the main one. And the Seleucids, their thorax swords basically did not pay for themselves. Shield bearers did, and that's pretty good. Mr. All the Things, his pike units, absolutely crushed. 206. His cavalry was pretty good too. His archers got destroyed, but his peltasts also. This is a really good battle with peltasts. And Pontus absolutely crushed it. So that's it for the battle. That's it for the battle. This is it for the replay. Hope you enjoy, and like and subscribe.